Hi, my name is Tatiana Lee. I am a criminal justice major at Westchester University. This is video reflection number one. Each week I will be creating a video to reflect on my experience with Yes Philly. Yes Philly is an alternative high school in Philadelphia for students ages 16 to 21 that have either dropped out or been kicked out of Philadelphia public schools. So this week was kind of a strange week. It was the first week that the Westchester students were going out to the field and working with Yes Philly. But the students from Yes Philly were taking Keystone, so the students were in and out of the meeting. Some students weren't there at all because not all students are required to take Keystones. So we didn't have, quite as large a group that we would have on a normal week. So, Mr. Moore, who is their media production teacher, just had us go around the room and introduce ourselves. And then he split the group 2 to 1. So, generally, it was two Yes Philly students to every one Westchester student. And he gave us a chance to just talk to each other, to learn about each other on a deeper level, rather than just the name, your interests, and kind of like what schools you're coming from. So we did that for about 20 minutes. And then we went back to the larger group, and he had us introduce someone else from your group. So that was a really good way to just get to know the students from Yes Philly, and to let the students learn a lot about us from Westchester. And we really got to know what they're interested in. So, as I've mentioned before, the day really just served as an icebreaker and doing some general introductions. We didn't want to start doing any serious curricular work because, like I said, there were so many students absent and in and out of the space that we just wanted to all be on an even playing field when we start next week. So, we really just did introductions for the first 2 days. But on Thursday, we did get a chance to sit down and kind of start laying the foundation for the video production project that we will create at the end of this 5 week experience. I think the students picked a topic of violence, and that was just like a very broad and general topic. So, in smaller groups, we got to have more in-depth conversations about what in particular they wanted to do related to violence. So I think one group chose mental health, another group chose domestic violence. My group is going to talk about community safety. Another group is going to talk about drug trafficking. So we really kind of took the broad topic of violence and narrowed it down. This was really interesting because the students from Yes Philly brought a lot of like personal experiences to the place, and they were like really kind of excited to ask us our opinions about the topic. So it was just really an organic space for learning and connection, and I think that this 5 weeks is going to be really exciting. Creating a video to reflect on my dropped out students weren't there at all because one, so or on a deeper level rather. And then we went back to the larger group, the students from Yes Philly. So Mr. Moore had us do a really interesting exercise to take our broad topic of violence and narrow it down. So, like I said, my group chose to talk about community safety. So Mr. Moore had each group draw a picture of a tree, and then at the bottom of the tree, he said, what are some of the root causes for your issue? So, like I said, the issues range from domestic violence, mental health, drug trafficking, and then my group who had community safety. So we said some of the root causes of community safety were lack of resources. So that could be anywhere from like literal lack of school funding to no after school programs. And then we also discussed like gun laws and how kids don't feel safe to go outside in their neighborhoods because they don't know whether they're going to make it back home or not because of all of the illegal weapons that are on the street. So I think our focus for our topic in community safety is going to end up being to create stricter gun laws, and I think that's going to be our focus. But what made this process so successful is that the students from Yes Philly were really willing to share the topics that they were passionate about with us. They asked our opinions about the topics, asked us if we had, any experience with each of the topics. So it really just created an organic space to just have conversations. I know sometimes it can be intimidating that, these students are high schoolers and we're college kids. Even though some of us are the same age as the students from Yes Philly, I really like the working relationship and the dynamics that we've started with the students from Yes Philly. I think in the future, this is going to be really helpful in my professional life because we've already kind of deconstructed some of those preconceived notions of like ageism. Like just because we're older does not mean that we know more. The students from Yes Philly definitely taught us a lot. And I think ageism is an important topic to be discussed within the educational system, that to not look at students because they're younger or younger than you or the same age as you but in high school, that they somehow know less. So this was definitely a very transformative learning experience, and I'm really excited to go forward.